Hi guys, so Sales Strife was asking me in a comment recently, why is it the case that INFJs are often described as being too serious? It's an interesting question. I don't even know if I ever made a video on that topic in my career spanning 6 or 7 years at this point, 6 years perhaps, on YouTube. It's true that this is something that's often said about INFJs. In fact, you have a number of memes that are available online where, INFJ memes where the INFJ is described as this serious person who is not really playful, doesn't smile very much, almost seems kind of severe and judgmental, doesn't let emotions transpire too much, and so on. So that particular kind of stereotype exists for sure, and it has a basis. Like most stereotypes, however distant from the actual reality of the case, have a little figment of truth somewhere, which is then massively overblown or, distorted or whatever the case may be. So I had to think of this question quite a bit, to be honest, before I could release a video, because it's just that I think in my mind, especially ever since I wrote My Little Spoke, The Infinite Soul, but even before that, in the lead up to the writing that book, my mind has been kind of surrounded by examples of INFJs that are integrated enough that actually they don't come across that serious at all. Or rather, they mix seriousness and unseriousness very fluidly and virtuosically in some ways. So I had to make an effort to kind of go back in time and think of, the earlier stages of INFJ life and INFJ maturation. And then, the solution to the problem kind of appeared. And I think that by way of introduction, we should say that what comes across to other people as serious is not necessarily felt as such subjectively by the INFJ themselves. They might be thoughtful, they might be preoccupied, or they might just be and not quite be aware of what they are projecting. Fundamentally, I think that we always have to go back to this notion of world alienation, the fact that INFJs are existentially alienated from external reality. They have inferior SE, there's this level of disconnect from the data of experience. Now, one of the primary manifestations of this is that, the world is kind of distant and unknown and unfamiliar, and therefore a little bit scary. So when you have to deal with an external reality, which is what contains you in many ways, and at the same time is unfamiliar and frightening, even at an unconscious level, you're going to be keeping your guard up. You're not going to let loose. You're going to want to have a certain degree of control over the parameters of that interaction. So what comes across as seriousness in other cases is more some kind of watchfulness, like an existential watchfulness, like an alertness to what is going on in order to remain in control. And this is, I think, primarily dominated by a certain fear of external reality. So here we can also see for the Enneagram adept people that there are overlaps between this dimension of INFJ experience and the experience of certain type 6s, right? Not necessarily all type 6s, but many type 6s in Enneagram. There is a sense of, lack of familiarity with external reality. It's hard for INFJs to make external reality a very comfortable place to be in. If you're not in a comfortable place to be in, you're going to be on your guard. If you're going to be on your guard, at some stage and in some form, you're going to come across as serious to other people. You're not being playful. Playfulness does not cohere with the notion of being on your guard. You can't be on your guard and playful at the same time. Okay? And I think that's the main reason why many INFJs may come across as quite serious. When I was saying that I had been surrounded in my recent thought patterns by INFJs who did not fit that particular picture, well, because I had been thinking of, I've been thinking of spiritualized INFJs. I've been thinking of liberated INFJs. Those two are synonyms. Most of you would already know that. And I would also recommend for people who haven't yet, first of all, get this book on INFJ life in the modern world, how INFJs interact with the world, and how being an infinite soul is the highest stage of INFJ life. The world is often perceived as hostile to INFJs, particularly the modern world. Doesn't have to be that way. Get this book to understand all those challenges. I recommend in relation to this particular topic and the topic of seriousness, there's a chapter 4, laughing with other people. So, if we're talking about laughing with other people, of course, we're not talking about being serious in this case. But it also means that self-strife was putting the finger on something quite fundamental, because obviously laughing with other people and being serious are kind of two sides of the same coin. One is the flip side of the other. So that is an existential challenge for INFJs, and this is connected to the path of the quest towards spiritualization. Because spiritualized INFJs, this is a trait that you will often find, and a lot of people don't realize this, and here the memes can be misleading, right? Even treacherous in some ways. They can hinder your understanding of the INFJ personality at beyond a certain level of depth. The memes will mislead you into thinking that all INFJs, including the highly developed, have that kind of serious vibe, and in fact it's not very much true. A lot of INFJs who reach the stage of spiritualization are actually much more light. They're much more playful. They're much more aware of the limitations of existence and making light of it. And they're kind of almost like riding the wave, right? Like they're surfing over it rather than being scared of it or thinking that they're going to be crushed under it. And you'll find examples of, for example, like, enlightened people in Buddhism who are able to make light of things, very much so. And the whole idea of lightness is a very important theme in Buddhism. But a character that I love referring to, and I refer to him a lot, because I think he's a fictional character, but a great example of a spiritualized INFJ is Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks. So I'm not talking about season 3 because I have not watched that, the season that was released like 30 years after the events of the first season. But Dale Cooper, the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks anyway, he's not that serious. The way that I would describe him, that I think is the most accurate, is to say that Dale Cooper is a character who's able to effortlessly glide between seriousness and playfulness. That's what makes him such a great character. That's why a lot of people think he's unique. He's a unique achievement in cinema, and why so many people are fascinated by him. There's so many funny scenes involving him, and he's conscious that he's being funny, but he's also switching back to other more serious modes. Well, that's the spiritualized INFJ in a nutshell. The best way to illustrate how spiritualized INFJs are not really fitting the serious stereotype at all is to think of the image of Dale Cooper, and you'll understand that. Okay, so I've said enough. Give me a like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget that you have the Infinite Soul. If you have read the book, loved it, but not reviewed it, reviews help me a lot, so please consider leaving a quick review on Amazon. You might be interested in the prequel, The Ecstatic Soul, new look at the INFJ personality. This is a very in-depth study of the INFJ mind and INFJ consciousness and how it manifests existentially. So a lot of the concepts that I use in my videos come from this book and from that book. You can also get the two. Don't forget, the lifeblood of my channel is my Patreon page. I'd be immensely grateful for your support, anywhere from $3.50 a month. You help me keep going with this channel and get access to some bonus content. Very soon I'll start releasing in-depth studies, in-depth discussions of themes from my books and my videos for the exclusive patrons. So you could also be interested in that. Okay, guys, thanks for that. The links are below, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.